Hello, I'm Dr. Barbara Ciccarelli, and I'm hosting Feel Good Friday. Thank you for coming and viewing. Um, we This is about the third or fourth Feel Good Friday we've had so far, and the response has been good. So I want to start by reading the description so we all are familiar with the topic. And then primarily I'll be facilitating a discussion. Um, and you at home can use the questions as a reflection prompt. So journaling would be great, um, just for yourself or to share with others. And here we are at 3 minutes after 5 CET Amsterdam time. And it's been a great week. I hope you had a great week. We'll talk about that a little bit. For me, I had a great swimming class earlier today. I always enjoy it, and I feel really lucky that I have it. Let's get started. Like I said, I want to start with the um, description for Feel Good Friday. Just as a reminder, some of you might have seen the notice signed up somewhere else where there was a short description. So let's just get started with that. First of all, there's a longer title to Feel Good Friday this week. The subtitle is Networking and Navigating Change to Stay Connected. Networking and Navigating Change to Stay Connected. And you might ask, what is the reference to change? Well, this is especially applicable if you have your life abroad. So this is something to keep in mind. A lot of my clients in my audience are internationals in Europe. Not that I don't get people from other places, but a lot are from internationals in Europe, and change is their middle name, I would say, and they might say as well. Uh, the idea, first of all, I'm a relationship success coach, and I'm interested in helping people navigate uh, connection with themselves without sacrificing in order to connect to others. And I go into deeper with in this with in a 6 month series, workshop series I'm doing. Uh, I already had one, and then one is they're on Mondays if you're interested. And I go deeper into my niche then. So to continue with the description, I just want to make a statement that you may or may not agree with. Change abroad is inevitable. Losing yourself isn't. Let me read that once more. Change abroad is inevitable. Losing yourself isn't. And then I'll just continue with the short description. Moving abroad, shifting relationships, or starting over in a new culture can shake your sense of identity more than you expect. You're adapting, adjusting, performing, and trying to stay grounded, all at the same time. Feel Good Friday today, this week, focuses on networking, a warm online space to end your week lighter, clearer, and more connected to yourself and others. So one thing we'll think about, we'll ponder through some of the questions I'll facilitate. How major life transitions affect identity. And transitions can be anything from a car accident to divorce to empty nester. It can be a number of things, depending on what you bring up. Another thing we might think about is why you often feel in between selves. Now, if you are someone who has life abroad, then you might feel in between your old self in your mother country and your new self in your adopted country. And you may or may not feel stuck in between. That's the change to grow we want to talk about. What parts of you are ready to grow and what parts of you want to protect? That's something to think about. And then again with grounded, how to stay grounded while everything around you is shifting. That's quite a skill. So this is about networking, It's also to have fun. We're going to talk about your wins, what makes you jump up and down with joy. This is not therapy. It's not a heavy workshop. It's just discussion around the coffee table. The idea is to connect with people who understand the international journey. Now, that's the case for this Feel Good Friday, but it won't always be the case. So keep that in mind. There'll be different topics, but they'll all be about connecting and celebrating your wins for the week. So, questions to start out with. Now, like I said, you can use these for a reflection prompt or a journal prompt. I will state the question and then I'll give a little bit of time for you to jot it down or to write it down. And of course, the recording will be in the recording vault in the classroom. So you can always download it and listen to the questions again. The first question, what felt good this week, even during change? So I'll answer this for myself to give you an idea. Uh, as I mentioned at the start of Feel Good Friday, I was happy about going to a swimming class. So I don't always make it every week, but this week actually went twice. And the thing that is amazing for me is that I started my academic class that I teach on Wednesday in between the two swimming classes. And so that was the change that the question talks about. And yet I was able to maintain the routine. So I'm pretty pleased. That's just one example of an answer to that question. Let's go to number two. What part of you feels stretched, challenged, or evolving abroad? I'll give you a few minutes for this to absorb it and perhaps jot it down so you can journal it. Okay. The question was, what part of you feels stretched, challenged, or evolving abroad? And again, I can give an answer for myself, which is uh, different ways of self-management in terms of health, work, relationships. Um, for instance, I'm a teacher and a coach, and I still take courses for upskilling. And I'm in the middle of a course right now. It's an academic course, and it has quizzes at the end of each module, and they are very challenging. It just tells me that it's good quality course, I think. And I'm happy they're challenging. So that is just something that stretches me a little bit and puts me back into the university state of mind as a student, which is always good. Evolving abroad, that's part of the question. Which part of you feels you're evolving abroad? That's something for you to ponder, I think, and I would love for you to answer that. Let's go to number three. What intention do you want to set to stay connected to yourself next week? We're jumping ahead a little bit here, but don't worry. I'll give you a couple minutes to think that over or write it down. So I would say for myself, um, I already mentioned I did swimming twice this week. And one of my goals long term is fitness. Um, it's been a challenge for me most of my life to get into a routine. And I think I did two classes of swimming and two fitness and weights this week. So that is what I would ideally like to do every week. So that is my intention for next week. Fitness, weights, and swimming. If I could do that, I'd be very happy. That's my intention to do. What is your intention for next week? Perhaps you can come back to Feel Good Fridays and tell us. Another question, this is just introductory because we do have other questions to look at and consider. How do you want to stay connected to others? As I told you, I'm a relationship success coach, so I'm very interested in connecting, relating. How do you want to stay connected to others? I'll give you a couple minutes for that, and then I will provide an example. Okay, so the question was, how do you want to stay connected to others? I think one thing that's on my mind is the gap between writing and speaking. Some people prefer writing, some people prefer emails, letters, some people prefer texting, the short version, and some people just like to talk on the phone or also meet in person. So they're all different kinds of connection or communication uh, modalities, and that interests me. Um, I'm more of a writer, but I can certainly appreciate having a good conversation, hearing someone's voice. Something you to think about. So we just did some introductory questions. The goal would be for me for the Feel Good Friday is if you come out of it with a calmer mind, a clear sense of yourself, at least in transition if your life have a life abroad, emotional grounding during change, because we've already talked about change and evolving during change, and connection to others navigating similar transitions. So, my audience today, we're talking a lot about internationals or life abroad. And I often get, as my audience, professionals, um, oftentimes second English language speakers. remote workers, expats. And oftentimes, my audience is navigating cultural adjustment because of moving abroad, career shifts that can cause changes, of course, new roles or expectations. That's quite a wide category there. Identity transitions, relationship changes, feeling not quite yourself. And on Monday, actually, I have a workshop on when you feel the relationship doesn't feel quite right and you can't explain why. So keep that in mind. Okay. Um, just give me one sec. I want to go to some new questions, shift a little bit here. Uh, I want to go to celebrating wins because that's something I always do with Feel Good Fridays. So let's go to wins. What's one win you had this week? Big, small, or only you would notice? Think that over for a minute. Journal about it. Okay. So the question was, what's one win you had this week, whether it was big, small, or only you would notice? Well, for me, if I answer that, it would be I started a new academic class that I was teaching on Wednesday, so 2 days ago. And it really came together in the classroom. I prepared, of course, but it really came together in the classroom through interacting with the students and getting a feel for them and what they wanted, which I like to do in my teaching. And afterwards, several of them came up to me just to talk. So that to me was a nice validation. If you're looking for one, it's always nice. So that would be my win that the first class uh, of the course went well, because that's always important as a teacher to set the right vibe. Let's go to the second question. What did you handle better than you would have 6 months ago? That's a good question. What did you handle better than you would have 6 months ago? Again, I will give an example. Um, the question is, what did you handle better than you would have 6 months ago? I think for me, it wasn't exactly 6 months ago. It was more like, oh yeah, it was about 6 months ago. I started the at the gym, my routine, and my approach to swimming, which I haven't done a lot in my life, um, was a lot different than what it is now. Now I have the routine down. Um, I enjoy it. I don't have to think about it. I just go and enjoy it. Whereas 6 months ago, when I was just starting out, I thought about getting to the gym and getting a locker. Um, and I learned from watching the other people in the gym the best way to do it, and that helped. So that's my answer, and I'm curious about yours. Don't forget to journal for yourself, and if possibly, if you want to share with others. Let's go to the next question. What didn't you what didn't you do perfectly? Or what didn't go perfectly, but you're proud of how you showed up? What didn't go perfectly, but you're proud of how you showed up? I'll give you a few minutes for that. Okay, the question is, what didn't go perfectly, but you're proud of how you showed up? And I have a funny example for this. Um, I got charged at a cafe for for a tip that wasn't aware I wasn't aware of being charged. So I was charged without being asked about it or told about it. And I thought this was not right. So I showed up, I spoke up, but it was clear that the management was on the side of the server who added it without asking me. So that's a shame, but I showed up, so that's the thing. It didn't go perfectly. Uh, so that's that. That's my story. So all of these questions are about success as growth, not outcomes. How are you growing through these questions, these topics, not where is it leading you? Okay, I just want to go through one more round of facilitating a few more questions, and then we'll call it a day. If you're journaling, very good, great. Um, and I will also, when I upload the video, I'll upload the script with the questions. So you can also download the questions. So this group of questions is called the 1 minute story circle because you'll be telling a story in 1 minute. That's the idea, anyways. I won't actually do a whole minute. Or maybe I do a minute. We'll see. But the first question is a moment this week that made you smile more than you expected. A moment this week that made you smile more than you expected. I'll give you a couple minutes for that. Okay. The question is, A moment this week that made you smile more than you expected. Well, I'm not sure if it was more than I expected, but it certainly made me smile. And that was listening to the love of my life, singing in the shower. I always know he's in a good mood if I hear him singing. So that made me smile. You might have something similar. Um, Sometimes people whistle. So there you go. Let's get to the next question. A small moment that reminded you who you're becoming. A small moment that reminded you who you're becoming. Okay. A small moment that reminded you who you're becoming. I would have to say, um, being in the weight room, which I started doing weights not too long ago, and being in the weight room doing the bench, um, pulling weight on the bench. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but it's for building up the lower back, which is what I was hoping for. And especially lately, I feel that it's all familiar to me now. I'm past the beginning, the first time, and now I can really feel like I'm gonna get fit with weights. So that's great for me. The last question, a time this week you surprised yourself. A time this week you surprised yourself. Okay, the question is a time this week you surprised yourself. And I would have to say contributing more to the house chores, which I was never very fond of. But now it's becoming more routine and it's not really that bad. But that's how I surprised myself, just actually almost enjoying it, which is how I like to do everything rather than pushing effort, more enjoying, finding a way to enjoy everything. Um, so I think that's where we'll end for today. We've had plenty of questions to ponder, and I hope you return for the next Feel Good Friday or check the other courses, whether you're looking at meetup.com or school. Um, and if you have any questions, please contact me. Again, my name is Barbara Ciccarelli, and I'm a relationship success coach. I'd be happy to help you. I also have in the classroom in school, um, there's there are free courses you can take, or with recordings and script and video recordings, and there are also other coffee hours and other workshops that were recorded from before. So take a look, see if there's anything that interests you, and enjoy. Okay, I'll see you next time, I hope. Bye bye.